And thanks for staying tuned to this segment of Front Burners. It is Policy Discussed. Today we'll begin by exploring the economic opportunities, the business trends in Belgium and Luxembourg. So, from commodities to clean energy, it is reported that there are several opportunities there. I asked the question before we went on a break. Are you an investor? Do you want to learn of new opportunities so you know where to put your money? You know now, multiple streams of income is very important. So I could also add to that investment in different continents, in different country is also important. So let's take some money offshore now and do some offshore investments. To handle this discussion today, we have Collins Nweke, who is a foreign policy commentator. He joins virtually. Good morning. Welcome to the Front Burners.
Thank you very much, Blessing. Good morning.
Now, let's look at opportunities outside of Nigeria. We always brag as Nigerians that this is home for opportunities. If you want to make money, bring your money in here. But also, let's also look at where Nigerians can take money into. What kind of business partnership can Nigerian businesses have with those in Belgium and Luxembourg? So let's talk about it. What's happening there?
Well, first and foremost, a bit of background. As you know, I mean, based on how I sound, based on my surname, I was born in Nigeria, raised there. But at some point, I made the decision to migrate out of, Nigeria, and Belgium has been home to me for the better part of the last, 3 decades. And, initially, I mean, you get fixated on, the migration narratives in terms of settling down, studies, raising a family, career, and all of that. But then, once you begin to, feel reasonably settled, and then you begin to say, okay, well, this country of my origin, so let's reconnect. Because for several reasons, I mean, one, inevitably hangs up on the country. And so in that process of reconnecting, you also look at, the value connections that one had made, and then you ask yourself, how best can we link both countries together culturally, economically, and otherwise? And that was how I actually got involved in this business of, trade linkages between Nigeria and Belgium and Luxembourg. Now, to your question, in terms of where one can put one's money, let me make one point, very clear from the outset. Your money doesn't quite need to leave Nigeria. Now, if you choose to do that, that's perfectly okay. But it could also be that with your business in Nigeria, and you find the right partners out here in Belgium and Luxembourg, that they will be the ones actually relocating their money to Nigeria, setting up, for instance, production activities in partnership with your firm. A new instrument could be, started off, or it could be anchored on existing business. So you see, that too also creates job in Nigeria, and that will also, boost, economic activities and so on and so forth. So what we have been trying to do as consultant to Nigeria-Belgium-Luxembourg Business Forum is actually to create these linkages in terms of who in Nigeria needs partners in Belgium and Luxembourg, and for which sectors, which activities. And then we ask the same question out here in Belgium and Luxembourg, and so we do the the match making, and so that was how it all comes. So as a consequence of these loose stores, I just thought it might be beneficial for both economies to pull down some of these nuisance that I have been having on paper, and that was what led to the op-ed that you reference.
Thank you and good morning, Dr. Collins. Hope the weather is treating you fairly today.
Exactly.
Thank you. Talking Belgium, Luxembourg, Nigeria, moving from commodity to clean energy. Are we shifting from the position of Kwame Nkrumah when he wrote that book in 1965, Neo-Colonialism, the last phase of imperialism? One very remarkable example he cited there was how the British authorities decided to move Ghanaian farmers from planting potato to cocoa because they really didn't need the potato, and then label it to be carcinogenic. Are we moving from that same conversation in this new narrative of commodity to energy?
Well, I mean, that determination is left for the Nigerian business person. Now, let's take, for instance, if you are into oil and gas in Nigeria, and you branched off or you have a subsidiary that is into technology that powers oil and gas, and you decide that in your business, in your relations with Belgian partners, that you want to focus exclusively on oil and gas, or you want to focus your attention on the technology and the engineering that drives oil and gas. Those are your decisions. Also, if you plant cocoa, and Belgium being the chocolate capital of the world, and a partner out here says, well, I need high quality cocoa bean to be shipped to Belgium, and you say, wait a minute, we could do that, but I think we have better opportunities if we set up operations in Nigeria, process the cocoa, set up a factory that manufactures the cocoa, because we have here a large pool of young men and women, capable, well-educated, highly motivated to work, and you can use them. And cost of production is much less here, as opposed to the Belgian economy that is more or less saturated. So it really depends on the two people in the business, in the conversation. But ultimately, I believe that the opportunities are infinite. And then what we do within the Nigeria-Belgium-Luxembourg Chamber of Commerce is not to drive businesses to a specific model, but we open up all the opportunities and allow them to make informed business decisions.
Yeah, there's a point I was trying to make, Dr. Collins, is the fact that we're talking about so much buzz about the clean energy conversation. And of course, we also know that Europe is moving off fossil fuel, and I'm not too sure whether it's actually because of the challenge it does to the economy, or it is the economic implication of the high cost of energy that we are thinking of alternative. And of course, this conversation has been on since the 1970s. Now, here is what we have, just crude, and nobody's going to buy crude anymore, so we are looking for new businesses. And then we don't have the competencies to drive that business. How does that benefit Nigeria, or indeed all African states?
Indeed, very, very poignant question, Dr. Idahosa, and thank you for asking it. I mean, part of the theme of the business forum that we had last year was the core question: is oil a dead commodity? Now, the answer we got to that question was no, oil is not a dead commodity. You can consider oil as a dying commodity, because in other parts of the world, they are actually having a gradual shift from fossil fuel to renewables, like you mentioned. And it's a conversation that had been on for the better part of the last 40, 50 years. Now, we are proponents of a situation where we open up opportunities for Nigerian businesses in the renewable energy sector, while also emphasizing the fact that Nigeria needs to do that transition from fossil fuel to renewables at its own speed. You can't be telling my grandmother in the village who cooks with firewood to abandon her firewood and begin to use, for instance, gas in cooking, when you haven't even asked if she has the means to buy herself the gas. And so she will continue, understandably, to use her, firewood. Now, what I can then do as, a grandson in diaspora is to say, okay, I do have linkages with manufacturers of gas, and so let me encourage them to invest in gas in Nigeria so that my grandmother will do away with her firewood, thereby helping in that transition from fossil fuel to renewable, just by way of an example. So no, the West may try as much as they want to actually push Nigeria, towards the renewables, which is a good thing, and everybody understands that. But it has to be at Nigeria's pace. That's number one. And then number two, if they want to make the transition faster, well then, let them invest in Nigeria, because, and it's not philanthropy. Investment means, bringing in your money and investing it in a sector that is viable, a sector that will make you money. And when you do that, you make sure that the profit margin is reasonable, because, take for instance sun panel, the panel that, they installed to, get energy, in Nigeria, rather than using generators and so on and so forth. It's done everywhere in the world. You ask yourself, why is it so expensive? Couldn't they manufacture and sell it, at affordable, price for Nigerians? These are ongoing conversations where ultimately business decisions have got to be made. So ours, within the Nigeria-Belgium-Luxembourg Business Forum, is to push out as much information as possible on both sides and allow people to make informed business decisions.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Collins. During your time when you left the country, it was called migration. But these days it's Japa, so you didn't fall under that category. Now, in the op-ed, I saw your analysis about agriculture and how both climes can, meet at a point where we can gain from each other. The yam industry or market or in Nigeria, has says to go into the realms of about $20 billion, and that Nigeria is one of the highest producers of yam in the world, including cassava. So there's a report that says that Nigeria recently gained a lot in securing more than $2.7 billion in exporting non-oil products. And there's supposed to be a need for us to facilitate that, to build on that, so that we can continue to gain more advantage. How can the Nigeria and Belgium Forum make sure that they create the enabling, not just the environment, but mechanisms to join both local market and foreign market for us to harness this potential?
Thank you, Pray. Well, essentially, at the Nigeria-Belgium-Luxembourg Business Forum, what we do are two main things. Number one is push out objective information, create opportunities for people to interact, to come together through our annual business forum. This year, it will be taking place in Brussels from the 22nd till the 24th of October, where we bring businesses together, from Nigeria to Belgium. And then also, you will ask the question, I mean, what about Nigeria? Yes, in April, we are also coming with a small delegation of, businesses from Belgium to have interactions both in Lagos and Abuja. So creating that opportunity for them to interact, get people meet, get people, to begin to, work together. Then the other aspect of what we do is actually locating where those businesses are and then matching them up. We do this through business to business, B2B, or government to business, G2B, whereby, we get people that are of like minds in terms of their business, interest to now begin to interact, and then we facilitate, the deal brokerage. Now, having said that, I will also add that agribusiness, for instance, agricultural innovation and agribusiness expansion, like you pointed out, was one of the areas that I identified in my op-ed. Agro-processing and food export is set to be a lucrative sector to watch. I mean, you also cited the growth of non-oil export. As at 4 or 5 weeks ago, the Nigeria Export Promotion Council actually confirmed that in 2024, the non-oil export grew by over 20%. And I mean, it just didn't happen. It happened as a consequence of some of these, initiatives that seek to, bring businesses together and, facilitate, some sort of lobbying as well, so that they understand out here that some unnecessary, bottlenecks, export bottlenecks, have got to be done away with, but also provide opportunities for people out in Nigeria that are exporting to actually up their game in terms of quality enhancement and so on and so forth. So you see, the opportunities are infinite, but what you don't know, you don't know. And that is where we come in to provide the information necessary. And of course, the op-ed is also positioned in that mindset of pushing out information to enable people make informed decisions.
All right, so let's look at the comparative advantage that Belgium has. It's highly skilled in terms of infrastructure. And in Nigeria, if we look at the real estate sector, we're talking about housing deficits. We have developers here and there trying to develop houses for Nigerians, but some of them are not very affordable because of the type of houses that we build. If we have that partnership between Nigerian businesses and Belgian businesses and those in Luxembourg as well, what kind of advantage would that give Nigeria's real estate sector? These days, the world is moving from horizontal development to vertical development when it comes to housing. What advantage would that bring for Nigeria?
Huge advantage. I mean, like you said, housing deficit is a huge one in Nigeria. And I must, I must also add that basically everywhere in the world, and that includes Belgium, where I am, housing deficit, is everywhere. But of course, it's more in, one place than the other. Now, in their efforts to actually tackle the housing deficit, quite a lot of technologies have been developed out here. And so what we are telling business people in the real estate business out here in Belgium and Luxembourg is to say, well, some of these expertise that you have developed over the years, Nigeria needs it, and needs it like yesterday, not even today or tomorrow. So one of the things that we put on the table is the modular housing solutions and sustainable construction materials, and they are in high demand investment areas for builders, from Belgium and Luxembourg. And so, you know, some of these construction companies are listening to those, gospel, if you want, and are taking interest in coming to invest in Nigeria. Now, just related to that is also a smart city, concept, because Lagos and Abuja are arguably the fastest expanding technology hubs in sub-Saharan Africa, with smart city initiatives and real estate development. So, Belgian firms, specializing in urban planning, green architecture, and smart energy grids, can contribute to these projects, in predominantly in Lagos and Abuja. And so we are encouraging them, to do that. And Nigerians, who are in that space, now they know that because Belgium is, big in not only technology, but also research and development, there are ample opportunities for them to, link up and either expand or actually solidify their business more.
Okay, Doc, very brilliant submissions there. But I want to find out also, are there opportunities to see Belgian pharmaceutical company actually also investing in the herbal sector in Nigeria? Take, for example, we're importing a lot of chemicals and pharmaceuticals from Belgium, where we have a lot of curative herbs in this place that are undeveloped. And many of us grew up using those herbs, and they were quite efficacious before we had these big farmers really moving around the entire world. Is there an opportunity for that collaboration so that we can also develop what we have internally, apart from just shipping what is already produced to this country?
Absolutely, Dr. Idahosa. And you probably know, because obviously you have this thing with research, you probably have found out in your research that, organic food, but also organic medicine, which is where I can actually position the use of herbs, natural herbs in Nigeria, which, like you said, growing up in Nigeria myself, I know them to be efficacious. This is something that is of high demand, and year in, year out, it is getting very, very popular out here in Belgium. And so the everyday Belgian and Luxembourg person are stepping away from more emphasis on chemicals and focus on organic, medicine. And so Belgium, being a technology savvy country, quite a lot of technologies have been developed around that. And it is no surprise because, firms like Protex Healthcare, a Belgian, firm, owned by a certain Dominic Vianney, have been in Nigeria for quite a while. And as we speak, they are actually, building a $1 billion headquarters for West Africa, actually right there in Abuja, helping to, seal partnerships with, different federal health centers, teaching hospitals, and also building local capacity in some of these areas, including, the exploration of, herbal medicine for production in Nigeria, and then ultimately, exporting them to Belgium using Belgium technology. So yes, those things, they've made an early start, but more opportunities are there to explore.
Thank you so much, Dr. Collins. Now, one aspect I would like to take you to now, it is the current administration of Nigeria, President Bola Tinubu, that actually created or seem to formalize the solid mineral sector by creating appointing a minister to fill that space, the Minister of Solid Minerals. And in this drive towards green economy, which we want to believe Belgium is currently very, very strong in, they will be looking at green economy and production activities that will be less detrimental to the climate because of climate change issues. We have cobalt, like you mentioned. We have lithium, and we have other solid minerals that are very, very good for industrial purposes that could be used to produce the batteries for electric vehicles. In issues like this, like you mentioned earlier, will this sort of bring in interactions that will cite industries in Nigeria, not only for the advantage of Nigeria, but also to promote the green economy initiative that is, taking place, that is holding sway over there in Belgium, but to also promote it here in Nigeria, but having advantage to tap into the solid minerals sector for the benefit of both parties?
Absolutely, Pray. Like you actually pointed out, one of the 7, investment trends that I recommended that people should watch is mining rare earths and battery materials. Nigeria holds untapped reserve of lithium, cobalt, and rare earth minerals. This is really, really critical for electric vehicle, the batteries that electric vehicle uses for their production and the supply chain. This offers very, very serious opportunities for factories, for businesses in Belgium and Luxembourg that are actually producing that have the battery technology and sustainable mining. So, like you mentioned, now, if people feel more comfortable, actually, taking the solid minerals out of Nigeria, exporting them, to produce in their factories out in Belgium and Luxembourg, it is their choice. But what we have noticed is that more and more people are actually finding it to make a lot more business sense if operations are set up in Nigeria, because overhead is less. You are dealing with a business environment that is very, very, that is still virgin. You are also looking at a workforce, that is very, very ready to learn, young and dynamic young people. And it could be that the skills they needed may not immediately be on the ground, but we can learn from the examples of Protex Healthcare that actually bring in resource persons to Nigeria to build the capacity of his local staff rather than importing local staff from Belgium or Luxembourg to come and work in Nigeria. So it makes all the business sense in the world that you bring the training into Nigeria, set up your operations like he's doing. And so we are encouraging within the Nigeria-Belgium-Luxembourg Business Council, we are encouraging businesses to think along that line so that you mine in Nigeria, set up operation in Nigeria, produce, and then, serve the the market, the African sub-regional market, but also from that point serve the Western market as well.
Yeah. Okay, Doc, do you think that model will be quite lucrative for business-minded people? I just was looking at data from Nigerian Bureau of Statistics, where we have to import in one quarter over $336 billion of solar panels, and the electricity we sold in that same period was just 79 billion. So look at the trading balance. So we are buying more as we are selling. And again, you are looking at there's really no market in West Africa, especially because of the level of poverty in the nations that are around Africa. Do you think that a lot of people in Luxembourg or Belgium will be willing to move their resource to Nigeria to set up?
Well, I believe that in the initial stage, it's going to be, and we are finding that, when we started this, annual conference business forum 3 years ago, we noticed the hesitation for exactly the same reason that, you have given. But they now also, understand the economies of scale. And so what that means essentially is that, when it is upscaled, the overhead will fall, and then the market will expand, and then, profitability sets in. Initially, yes, you might, struggle, but also government comes in as well. Take the solar panel, for instance. Government, because they see the potential in it in the long term. And that's what business, government should be doing, thinking more in the long term and providing not only the enabling environment, but also the financial incentives to actually achieve that long-term goal. And then because business, the essence of setting up business is to make profit. So it is not for you to begin to think of the profit you are going to make in 20 years' time when you are, actually incurring some loss at the initial stage, because your business might not survive, the next 10 years, how much less the next 20. So that's where government comes in to show up, some of those potential loss, and then make it lucrative, for people in that space. So yes, I agree that in the short term, that might pose quite some challenges. But we also know that within the institutions of the European Union, there are quite a number of funds available. Some are grants, some are low interest loans that are available to actually facilitate investment specifically in clean energy. Now, if you don't have that information, you don't have it. And that's where, the Chamber of Commerce that actually powers the business forum is called the CBL APC, that, ACP. So that's where they come in terms of, doing research, matching funds deposited within the European, institutions with laudable initiatives, because it is in EU's best interest that the shift from fossil fuel to clean energy is accelerated, and they are putting money on the ground to help achieve that. So that could also equally be injected in those businesses to make them sustainable and profitable ab initio.
Now let's look at the shipping industry in Belgium and in Luxembourg. Now, because of the location of Belgium, it's more like the commercial hub of Europe and how central it is to other parts of Europe. But Nigeria struggles in its shipping industry that is dominated by foreign partners. Sometime in 2021, the DG of NIMASA had sought a partnership with Belgian firms in the area of shipping recycling in Nigeria. Beyond that, are there certain collaborations Nigeria can explore directly with Belgium to improve the shipping industry, or even at large, the maritime industry?
Yes, indeed. Seaport and logistics expansion beckons, in Nigeria in the next decade, more than ever before. We have Belgian companies, for instance, Jan de Nul, Demi Group. These are Belgian indigenous country. They already have domineering presence in Nigeria's dredging, port management, and logistics. And there are other players, in the area of shipping and logistics. I recall back in Nigeria, they used to, once you mentioned this, Tokumbo vehicle, no matter what part of Europe it comes from, people will always say, Belgium car. Why? Because Antwerp, which is probably, one of the, largest seaports in the world, is actually here in Belgium, where these shipping operations take place. So, some sort of, let me say, smallholders in terms of, family businesses that are specialized, for instance, in shipbuilding, ship repairs, and all of that. They are also, taking initial interest in transferring knowledge and expertise to Nigeria, while, as a business forum, we create the linkages between the shipping firms, small and medium-sized shipping firms, because it doesn't necessarily have to be the Demis of the world, the Jan de Noos of the world. No, there is also space for small players, medium-sized companies to link up with counterparts in Nigeria. Recently, I was talking with the president of Anglomal Shipping and Logistics Limited, a firm based in Port Harcourt, and they too, have shown interest in linking up with, partners of similar size out here in Belgium and Luxembourg. So yes, the opportunities there are very, very much, and through public-private partnership as well, some of these business transactions could be activated and facilitated.
Okay, now look at all this perspective and this relationship we're trying to foster, bilateral trade agreements and relationships. Now, what are the perceived challenges and bottlenecks that may be encountered, and what are the methodologies that have been set in line to ameliorate them? That's number one. Number two is this. Let's assume there's a smooth collaboration from both parties. In terms of monetary value, what will be your forecast?
Well, let's start with the challenges. The most common that we know about is, regulatory frameworks that are either complicated, or even when they are, as simple as ABC, businesses don't take sufficient time to, look them up and then, actually see what is in them and then, comply with them. Now, those businesses, Belgian businesses I'm talking about now, who have had their fingers burned as a consequence of, doing business in Nigeria and have pulled out, have now done some analysis. We help them out there as well. And then they discovered that if they used specialized services to navigate, the terrain, and I mean, it's not exclusive for Nigeria or Belgium, it's everywhere. I mean, there have to be rules and regulations, there have to be quality control measures put in place to ensure that, things are done and done, correctly. Now, if you don't know it, you don't know it. And that's why, one of our partners is A-Law International that specializes in foreign trade, where they, take, businesses that are actually trying to enter either into the Belgian market or Belgian firms that want to enter into the Nigerian market. They take them through the ropes in terms of guiding them through, the compliance, procedure. And so that way, you focus as a business on the core business itself, which is, transacting, and leave the legal aspect of it to those who know better. That's number one challenge. Number two challenge, and related to the first one, is of course lack of information. And that is why for us, the chamber itself, the parent body that anchors, the business forum, it is important that information, is brought to the people, and that's why on April 8, April 9, and April 10, we will be, having, business reception in Lagos, one in Lagos, and then two in, in Abuja, actually targeting top business, executives, business leaders in general, to come together, get information about what is available and what they need to do to prevent their fingers being burnt.
Let's also look at what Nigeria can provide for businesses in Belgium and Luxembourg. What do you think they'll be hoping to benefit from this partnership?
You mean the Nigerian businesses, or?
What do you think Nigerian businesses can provide businesses in Belgium and Luxembourg? What do you think they'll be hoping to benefit from this collaboration?
Oh, yeah, indeed. Good question, Blessing. Now, essentially, like I said earlier, the essence of business is to make profit. And so, first and foremost, you have to be clear about what you are selling. I mean, it could be goods, it could be services, okay? Whichever it is, be clear about it. Now, once we, as, deal brokers, understand what, you are selling, and it is well packaged, we now look for the partners out here that are actually looking for the same thing that that you are selling. Take for instance, if you manufacture goods in Nigeria, or you are looking for technical partners, you have the idea, but the technicality isn't there to be able to bring your business idea to fruition. The engineering required, the machineries and all of that, as you know, Belgium is also very, very big in engineering. So what we do is, once we understand what you want to do, and we identify the requirements in terms of technology, in terms of engineering, but also raw materials, we simply make the match, between the demand and the supply. Now, I could go very specific, with products, but it is not, actually necessary. But I believe that this is the global picture to be painted. Now, be clear about what you are selling, goods, products, services, and then we advise on how best to package it, and then we, link you up with, the demand side out here in Belgium, and so it becomes a win-win for both the Nigerian business person and the Belgium-Luxembourg business person as well.
Okay, thank you so very much. Still, again, back to the conversation on renewables, especially the transition that's happening in Europe. Africa is again heavily relied on to supply the non-renewable. Are there also opportunity to mitigate that effect from Europe on Africa?
Well, yes, indeed. The opportunity to mitigate the effect is there. And I will cite one example, very recent one. In September 2024, we're talking of, some 6 months away, Belgium implemented stricter regulations, around fuel export. This is essentially, limits the permitted sulfur content to 50 parts per million. The move aligns with, similar Dutch, regulations, which led to significant reduction in gasoline export, from the Amsterdam, Rotterdam, Antwerp axis, what they call the ARA, hub to West Africa. Now, and that includes Nigeria, of course. Now, the most obvious effect of that is, okay, it will definitely, and it has, affected a number of businesses. Some have argued that that is a bit of, arm twisting. But you see, To compensate for that, Belgium is also, creating a number of incentives to, accelerate, the transition to, clean energy. And so what we are saying is, okay, those who still feel comfortable, transacting in oil and gas and fossil fuel, fine, but realize that that is not where the future is. The transition, you can do that at your pace. And so one of the gospels that we preach is the Western world. If you want the transition to be accelerated, well, be ready to invest in the sector. This is not a message that they immediately buy, but you begin to see signs of the readiness to invest in clean energy technology in Africa. And so it is up to Africans, Nigerians, Nigeria as a leading economy there, to also begin to think in that direction. Those that are in similar sector, can diversify or new businesses set up in the area of clean energy.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Collins Nweke, for providing us an overview on the opportunities that are inherent in Belgium-Nigeria collaboration. I do hope that business investors have been looking at this. On a final note, let's look at the role of development banks, the role of financial institutions in this partnership from both ends, from Belgium, Luxembourg, and Nigeria. What role can they play to foster these partnerships?
Right. For a start, the African Development Bank, under the able leadership of our very own Dr. Akinwumi Adesina, who recently, by the way, got Kenya's, highest, national merit award, has in his time as the president of, African Development Bank, has developed quite a sizable number of, instruments to power particularly, the agricultural sector in Nigeria. Now, the Import-Export, bank, African Import-Export Bank, does have a number of, instruments to facilitate, particularly transition from fossil fuel to, clean energy, but also, more importantly, export-based businesses, to reduce import and encourage more of export. So some of these facilities, they exist, but we know that, information about them are more or less hidden to the average business person. And that is why what we do out here in Belgium is to give information to entrepreneurs about the availability of certain grants, low interest rates, and no interest rate facilities within the European Investment Bank. Even private banks, some of them are also, participating in that. And then you have the angel funds as well, that support small and medium-sized enterprises. So we link them up with those institutions within the chamber, and then similar things taking place in Nigeria. Now, we know that the commercial banks in Nigeria, there are still huge challenges in terms of their preparedness to lend at affordable cost. But the conversations are ongoing, and hopefully very soon, they will make it easier for businesses to lend.
Many thanks for being on the show today. We hope to have you another time soon, as maybe we might just be looking at the investment opportunities, the business trends in other parts of the world.
My pleasure. Thank you so very much for having me. Have a great weekend.
Come to Nigeria in April.
Yes, and you need to be there. Are you in Abuja or Lagos?
Lagos.
Lagos. Well, I'm having the invitation sent to you right away. Pray and blessing, all three of you. We need to gather together there.
We do. Thanks again, Dr. Collins Nweke, who is a foreign policy commentator. We'll be looking at the business trends in Belgium, Luxembourg, and Nigeria. What partnership opportunities can these countries explore? Yes, as an investor, I do hope you've learned a lot and you are now calculating and looking at what you can offer, what those in Belgium and Luxembourg can offer you as well.